weather out there, Brother Rod.
It is, and it seemed like it got colder as the day went along.
Well, it got colder, but not cold enough for my teacher buddies.
And I bet that means downward could snow tonight.
Yeah, it's not looking good. We were joking around at school like, see you Monday, hopefully see you Monday, but no, it's just rain and yucky. So if you're on the road, please be careful. It's not a good time to have a little fender bender or anything like that. So the calendar's turned to December, the weather's turned cold, but we're going to talk about, Rod, tonight, a team, though, that hasn't changed because they're going to Chattanooga again Saturday.
Again?
Again, just like you guys are going again.
That's right. We just follow along.
Just follow along. Well, you've been following for 6 years in a row now, and we'll get to that later in the show, talking about, of course, the Oakland Patriots. Our show each week is brought to you by Ida's Tees. It is the place in Rutherford County for school spirit wear, screen printing, embroidery, specialty items, and more. Visit them at 111 East MTCS Road, right across from the School Off Memorial. You can also shop officially licensed MTSU Blue Raider gear from Raider Tees. Tees, polos, hats, and more at their showroom. Ida's Tees can put your logo on just about anything. Stop by and see how they can help promote your favorite team, workplace, or organization. Learn more at idastees.com.
Rely on the experienced professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air.
Whether it's the blazing heat of summer or the bitter cold of winter, let the Rheem Pro professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Conditioning on West College Street keep your home or business comfortable year-round. We service all major brands and in most cases offer same-day service. Call us today at 615-890-1311. Prentice Allsup Heating and Air, your Rheem Pro partner heating and cooling contractor on West College Street, just under the Thompson Lane overpass.
In Rutherford County, we need a sheriff who leads from the front, not... In Rutherford County, we need a sheriff who leads from the front, not from behind a desk. That's Kenneth Barrett, out on calls, side by side with deputies, tackling the tough stuff every shift. He's the working man's leader, supervising with sharp eyes, serving with steady hands, keeping our families safe. Born here, raised here, he's ready to protect here.
I'm Kenneth Barrett, runner for Rutherford County Sheriff, and I would appreciate your vote.
Paid for by Kenneth Barrett for Sheriff, Treasurer Jam Stewart.
Five 1450 wgnssports.com and Big G TV.
All right, we're back talking high school, kind of fall sports. Football's sliding over in the winter. Wrestling started, I've noticed. Basketball started. There's Brian is so excited for basketball season.
Especially while he's trying to finish up football.
Trying to finish up football and trying to squeeze in basketball. But him and John and Brother Bill do a great job trying to catch kids and when basketball season rolls over. And
well, John should be refreshed. He's been on vacation for a while.
He's getting around better, I heard.
Okay, that's great.
Well, he's going to climb a few. Do they have an elevator?
They do.
They do have an elevator. We just got to get him to the elevator Saturday night.
To walk to the elevator, but it's not bad.
It's not bad.
But I'm not in his shoes, I guess, or his hip.
It probably depends on how good of a, co-pilot he is going to Chattanooga. If he's aggravating, Brian might make him walk a little farther.
You think he'd do that?
Yeah.
Probably would.
Probably would. I wouldn't blame him at all. Let's jump over to winter sports, though, talking again about basketball. And it's time we want to mention for our Smyrna Ready Mix solid performers. Every game has someone who provides a foundation for success. And it's early in basketball season, but I did notice the Blackman girls went to the Mount Juliet Classic, went 3-0, defeating host Mount Juliet right there in the final match of that Classic. They've started out the season strong.
That's a big win, too, because Mount Juliet always has a strong program. Between them and Lebanon High School, both of them come out of Wilson County, always tough programs, so that's a good start. And it's in their backyard.
That's right. You got a couple young folks doing well in basketball as well.
Right. For the girls, for Central Magnet School, Madison Stanley, in 2 games this past week, she had 50 points. So that's averaging about 25 a game, which is I've never scored 25 points in my life. And he had 22 rebounds. So that's 11 rebounds. So that's hitting the boards too. And then also for Smyrna, Jan Kinzer. He had 64 points. That's 32 points a game in 2 games. And so shout out both to Jan Kinzer and Madison Stanley.
All right. Congratulations to those folks. And again, to the Blackman girls team. They get the recognition of the Smyrna Ready Mix Concrete Solid Performers, locally grown, nationally known Smyrna Ready Mix Concrete. It's not a basketball preview show, but I was thinking, Rod, looking at teams, we've already mentioned the Blackman girls. They're coaches at Blackman. They've probably got 2 of the best coaches in the state.
Yes.
Coach Grandstaff.
Right. I admired her when she was back at Oakland all the time. And when I remember coaching middle school, they hosted, the tournaments for the county, and they always were great hosts. But she was always able to help, and she's just very good technician of the game, teacher of the game, and she's been successful forever. Even before she came here in Moore County, she had teams that were getting to the state.
Yeah, she's always been good X and O coach, just good fundamentals, and I can just imagine what her practices are run like. So the Blackman boys and girls both looking like good teams in Rutherford County this year. Another team that's state possible qualifier is right down the road on 99 is the Eagleville boys.
Yes, I've heard they're really starting to roll now. They had a good football season, and now they're moving right in. In fact, they've been rolling with baseball and softball the last couple of years, and it seems like everything, all athletics is just caught on fire.
Well, I know then I remember when I can still call him Coach Tollett. Coach Tollett was principal out there, and they were, expanding their programs, getting football, and he used to tell all the coaches and the kids, you got to play everything. You got to play everything. And
that's true, but that's such a great advantage. I remember when in high school, I played football, basketball, baseball. I mean, my whole 4 years and 3 sports all the way through, except my senior year I didn't play basketball. So I live in sports, out of that time, but it's a great experience because that's back when we didn't have much other options. There wasn't much there, in your community except for the school and the sports and your church activities and the youth groups and stuff like that. And so that's the one advantage. But I also think, to me as a coach, I like my players to have played a couple sports. I mean, they've had to deal with situations that you have to work through, and they learn to adjust. And it also is good for their health, like on their legs. If you're only a basketball player and all you play on that surface, you're more likely to tear up a knee than you actually are if you're getting on natural turf. Natural turf will absorb it, although now we all of a sudden have this artificial turf. You know? And I don't. We may have to do more studies on the artificial turf. What kind of effect does it have on the knees or the joints and all?
Well, that's a whole nother conversation we can have. You know, like I said, you know, Eagle talked about early on, kids playing and everything, and it's almost a shame that, you know, I think the pressure that the young people are under now to perform, the AAU programs that's come in, the travel, you know. I've got friends that's got soccer and volleyball players, and they're playing year-round.
And to me, as a young kid, because each sport has different muscles that are involved, or different pressures like on the body when you're in the type of movement that you're doing. And if you do the same thing over and over again, I think it wears the body out. It's going more likely to have injury. If you're playing multiple sports, you're getting multiple muscles and joints and nerves and reactions are all developing through that time, and it actually makes you a better, well-rounded player. I know for the past, like professional baseball player, our scouts and all said they like to look for people that play multiple sports because they usually end up having a lot better success.
Well, you know, injury-wise, and then, you know, we'll talk about, you know, we're going to talk about the college recruiting, the football that just come up. You know, so many kids are graduating early December. All these kids playing football going in starting January, going to college.
Yeah.
So I mean, the pressure becomes there. So I know I was talking to Coach Voss over at Riverdale the other day. You know, their football season ended a couple of weeks ago, but I asked him. I said, "What's the transition time for kids?" You know, he was looking at getting some football players in, but there was a lot of kids. I said, "What about that kid?" He goes, "No, he's focusing on football." I'm like, "Really? Just football?"
Mm-hmm.
You know, of course, you know, when you go from football to basketball, that's a whole different.
Right.
You know, it takes you a couple weeks.
Yeah, well, I can see it when you get close to at least by your junior year. If you're one that really has a really good chance to go up to the next level, maybe gearing in on that sport now. But I think you need to have done the work in multiple facets as you go up. Of course, that's why a lot of the conditioning has changed. A lot of the trainers have you doing some things you never think they would be doing. You know, like large tractor tires, you're trying to pick them up, move them, but they're finding different ways to move and also have resistance that would more simulate your sport. And so, I mean, that part is changing too, but I like the good old days, and that's what Eagle still has, you know, where it's important to your school and you're rooting for each sport and each classmate as they participate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So, again, we'll get into the whole signing day pretty soon, but we've got a lot of local kids having to make those decisions. So, good luck to all of our local basketball teams. It's still early. The regions, of course, everything changed with Rutherford County. You've only got 4 teams each. So that's been a discussion.
To me, it just looks so boring.
Yeah. So, you know, you get 4 teams from the district that get to go on to the next round. Well, okay, we got the next round. Talking to Brian before we left, you know, we're guaranteed 2 teams to go to sub-state because that's just how it works out.
Yeah.
Before you even start playing, which sounds kind of silly.
The big drawback, though, is the scheduling, you know, because, you know, you have to go out a little bit more and search a little farther. I'm sure they're going to play the local county teams that are in the other region, but will they play them 2 times, for example?
Yeah. So, of course, we argue about football. Everybody was playing everybody, and we didn't like that. And then we argued about football playoffs because we were traveling over the world, and then now we're arguing about basketball. So I know the TAA just loves listening to us complain about
whichever way you go, somebody's
exactly
playing.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, you know, it all works out in the end because, like I said, we've got a team in the championship game coming up. All right, we're going to transition. We're going to talk a little pro sports for a minute, and I'll start with the Tennessee Titans, who continue to lose. But for all of us as fans at this point, that's a good thing.
Yes.
You hate to say it that way, but it's a good thing.
Yeah, because this is the chance to get strength throughout your program now. You don't have to look for the quarterback. We feel that we've got one. They seem to be satisfied. He has great potential, but now we can maybe trade that first pick for a couple and really start getting some depth in the program.
We need some teams out there to get desperate wanting one of these quarterbacks. And it's not a great quarterback class. You got the kid from Indiana. You've got the kid from Alabama, the local Tennessee product that plays for Alabama. He's a top quarterback, kid out of Oregon. You just need somebody to fall in love with one of those quarterbacks, and then them to get worried that if they don't get ahead of this team, they're not going to get him, and offer the Titans a lot. Of course, they sit at 1-11. Speaking of quarterbacks, interesting matchup going to Cleveland on Sunday, where our number one quarterback, Mr. Ward, will be playing against Mr. Sanders.
That's true.
So, about a year ago at this time or so, the question was, who's going to be the number one pick? Was it going to be Deion's son or Ward? And everybody was going back and forth, and then the great Sanders drop in the draft, but now he's starting for Cleveland, so he'll be starting Sunday. I need him to play well because I don't need the Titans to win that game. We need Cleveland. We've got a couple teams, the Saints and some other teams not playing so well. We need them to not bump us out of that first position, because if we get down to about third or fourth, we'll really have any clout to try to make a trade.
Because last year there wasn't a good option on the quarterback
there
class
wasn't
either.
You hate to say that,
and probably it was worse than what this year's going to be.
Yeah,
about 1 to 2, the 3. Although the one that's doing the best was farther down.
Yep,
the kid from New York Giants.
Yeah, Dart's doing pretty good for the Giants. He got hurt a couple weeks, but he's back playing well. So the Titans got, of course, they're going to Cleveland. That's a toss-up game in my opinion. Go to San Francisco, we'll get beat. Go to host Kansas City, we'll get beat. Then the big game, I think, will be the New Orleans game after Christmas. My son wants to go to that. He thinks we can get some cheap tickets. That could be the game for number one.
That's one advantage right now.
That is an advantage. Tickets are available. Mm. And then, the Jacksonville game at Jacksonville, which no one thinks could win, but we need Jacksonville to win that game. We need them to win the AFC South or get a better playoff position, because Jacksonville's playing pretty good right now. Mm-hmm. And so we shall see. So the race to number one, just the wrong number one in some people's mind, is still on for the Titans. Mention the Prez for a second real quick. They're sitting not dead last in the league. They're second to last in the league, sitting at 9-13 and 4 ties. Not a great time still down there in Nashville.
Well, they're starting
teams
to come alive a little bit. They've won 3 of the last 4, and the last one was like 4-1, 5-1. So they've changed some of the lines, and they brought up one of the young players that they almost kept at the beginning of the season. He's a forward and a young kid, and he's 6'4", 230, 240. He's fast, strong arm, and he's looked good when he's been playing. Scored his first goal, and I think his second or third game that he's played in. So there's some hope there.
Yeah. There's some hope also in Boston, and we'll talk about a local product heading to Boston after this break.
Since 1966, Fans Heating and Air has been a symbol of quality for Murfreesboro and Rutherford County. For friendly, complete service on Amana, Bryant, or American Standard heating and air products, Fans will do it all. Sell you your choice of products and then install it with their factory-trained, experienced professional staff. In the unlikely event you need service, Fans will be there with trained technicians. Fans Heating and Air is located on Jayhawk Court. Call 615-893-7930. Fans Heating and Air.
We're at Rick's Barbecue on Warrior Drive, where, of course, they've got barbecue and smoked chicken, ribs, but they have other favorites.
Our chicken tenders are delicious. We bread them here ourselves. We have so many different kinds of sides, and our nachos are really good and popular. I love the menu. I could literally eat here every day.
Anne Marie Brents at Rick's Barbecue.
We're thankful for the customers. We have a lot of regulars, loyal customers that come in, and when they come in, I already know their order.
Bet you're hungry now. We'll see you at Rick's Barbecue, 212 Warrior Drive.
Hello, this is Coy Young at Las Casas Feed Supply. We'd like to welcome you to our door.
If you're a homeowner with a quarter acre or several, Las Casas Feed Supply focuses on premium feeds and dog foods you won't find in the box stores.
Nutrition is our specialty here at Las Casas Feed.
Family owned and operated by Coy and Jennifer Young, inviting you to stop by, visit, and enjoy the country.
Customer service and expertise that exceeds your expectations.
Las Casas Feed is also your place for local milk from the MTSU Dairy on Barlow Lane, just off Highway 96 East in Las Casas. Middle Tennessee Christian School, training for eternity.
The large majority of our kids are involved in athletics or extracurricular activities, one or the other, and most are doing multiple activities.
MTCS President Matt Tiller.
And that's a great preparation for life. How many of us in our life are just doing one thing? So a well-rounded student is a huge deal.
Invest in your child's future in a Christ-centered environment with many athletic and extracurricular choices.
Without a doubt, our students have the opportunity to be involved in multiple activities.
To find out more, visit mtcscougars.org.
Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance takes great pride in treating local athletes here in Rutherford County. Experts in joint, bones, and muscles. And with over 65 specialists, TOA has a playbook to get you back in the game. To request an appointment, visit TOA.com or call 855-NEED-TOA. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance, TOA. Live your best life.
Primetime Sports, presented by Ideas Tees on 1019, 100.5, 1450, wgnssports.com, and Big G TV.
All right, we're back, and I gave a little hint about Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray was traded from the Cardinals to the Red Sox. I was surprised, Rod, you said you weren't.
I was not, because he did make the comment at the end of the season that he wouldn't mind. He had a no trade clause, and he refused last year. But he said he wouldn't mind going to a team that has a chance to get in the playoffs and make a good run in the playoffs. And Boston's a pretty settled team. And well, only thing I'm surprised, it's a little farther trip. I thought it'd be more like somebody like the Atlanta Braves, a little closer, that he might be interested in. Because it's one of the things he likes St. Louis, because his family could easily get from here, from Smyrna to St. Louis, in easily in half of a day. So, but I'm not totally surprised. No.
There was an article on ESPN, him talking about his time with the Yankees. Did you happen to see it?
No, I didn't.
He did not care for his time in New York.
Didn't like it at all. What parts did he not like?
Well, he felt like they just weren't. He wasn't crazy about management, and didn't like how they were using him. And said, that's what he liked about. He liked it from St. Louis. They kind of let him be him, and he pitched really well for the Cardinals.
Yes, he did.
And so, well, I understand at his age, if he wants to try to make another playoff run, I totally get that. Because, he's looking at the end of the career. Were you happy with what the Cardinals got back?
Yeah, it's got potential. A lot of times we get people back, and you can see that this is not something that's going to be special. We probably have a new starter in our pitching staff, which is good since we're losing one, but we don't match Sonny to me. But he has the potential to be a pretty solid pitcher. Did pretty well this past year, but they got a young left-hander who throws up 95 to 98. A little wild. He got a really great slider, but he doesn't have an off-speed pitch, so there's got a lot of work yet to do. But he has the potential.
But got younger.
Right.
And that's, the Cardinals need to do that as well. And so totally understand that. So good luck to Sonny in Boston. Boston's a great city. I love going the couple times I've been to Boston.
Well, it's a baseball city too.
It is. Have you been to a game there?
I have not.
I have not either. That made me have one of the next ones on my list. Baseball winter meetings start December 8th. I'd mentioned to Rod during the break that it's been kind of slow. They start December 8th, and they run through the 10th. So they'll get to smooze a little bit, all the owners and the GMs, and maybe some back talking trades will start happening.
Did you see where it's at?
It is in Orlando.
Yeah. Once in a while they come to Nashville, which was kind of neat.
Yeah, that was kind of neat. I wish I had went and just walked around there. So, of course, I'm sure the Dodgers will spend some money and the Yankees will spend some money. over these next few
the
weeks.
Unlimited budgets.
Yep. But we're talking just flipping the calendar to December, but pitchers and catchers will start showing up into January.
Middle of January, I'll start tuning in.
Yeah. That's just crazy. Just crazy. I'll tell you something else crazy. I'm changing topics again. My Vols played terrible. It was just crazy how bad our defense played against Vanderbilt.
Yeah, that's been the shock this year. Has been the defense has really gone down. The defense really is basically, it depended on how much the offense could score, whether you're going to win or not. And if it didn't do as well, and so that's something they got to retool. And they're probably thinking, maybe do we get a new defensive coordinator because he really looked good last year, or that's some decision that has to be made.
Wow.
I think one of the kids they had turned at the last minute on recruiting day was defensive end. So, and I think there's the two that they turned. One was was committed to Ohio State. Apparently moved them up from being 8th best to 5th best in the nation, based on one. There's different groups that evaluate it.
Right.
It.
Well, it pains me to give credit, but you got to give credit where credit was due. Diego Pavia, 268 yards, a touchdown, ran for 165 and another touchdown in that 45-24 win over Tennessee. Vanderbilt, first 10-win season since 1923.
Have you ever seen one person, and probably his coaches from New Mexico State, change the program completely?
No, I mean
this has been forever.
Yeah. He did what you said. He changed the program, changed it.
You got to give Lee credit. He changed how he was doing things.
Well, speaking of Clark Lee, he signed a new 6-year contract. Vandy signed him up, and then speaking of flipping the script. They have flipped probably one of the best, if not the best, pocket passing quarterback in the country, right out of Nashville Christian.
Rated number one.
You got to give Vanderbilt credit for that. The NIL's time frame, has changed what it looks like for teams, and you got to be impressed with that. I hate it for Vanderbilt though. Best 10-win season, best season they've had in years, and they're not going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I as much as, I'm a Tennessee fan, I always rooted for Vanderbilt, and I'd like to see them play some of these other teams.
Right.
Because they're a tough matchup. I mean, the two games they lost, they were right there at those.
Right. And like the one with Texas, they got way behind, but then they came back and really made it a game.
Yeah. We mentioned Jared Curtis, of course, again, the quarterback out of Nashville Christian. He is, the game's probably over by now. They were up 49-0 at the half.
Yeah. He probably won't play the second half.
And down there in Chattanooga, so the Nashville Christian's going to win a state title.
But he's like 6'4", 6'5", 230 pounds, and he's fast. He's shifty, strong arm. It's got all the weapons. So they've got their replacement, hopefully, for Pavia.
Yep, for the next probably 3, maybe 4 years, depending on how long he makes it there. Speaking of making it there, Danny Brewer has made it here by the phone, not in person. He's down in Smyrna at a swim meet. Again, here we go. We're talking it's 38 degrees, and Danny Brewer's at an inside swim meet. How's it going, Danny?
It's going great. It's Smyrna. It's Seal at Smyrna. Well, we got some aquatic action going on here, and hot times in the old pool tonight.
How is it? Is it steamy inside there at the pool?
They keep it nice and toasty. You want to keep it warm. You don't want your swimmers getting cold. I mean, it's not blazing hot in here, but it's nice and comfortable. I'm in shorts and short sleeve shirt, and I'm feeling great.
Feeling great. What's funny is very few high schools have pools. Smyrna's one of them. Riverdale has one. I was at the basketball game and at Riverdale, and I noticed some kid walking through with a towel wrapped around him. I'm like, what is that kid doing? They were going to the restroom from the pool area because that's what they needed to do. So, Danny, we were talking about Tennessee Vanderbilt. You got any thoughts on the Vols and what they're going to have to do to change the trajectory of their defense.
I mean, you can't give up big plays. I think the thing that they hurt them against Vanderbilt was they couldn't contain Pavia, which he is a little bit different from a lot of other quarterbacks in that he's so shifty and so quick, but that he cut loose with lots of big runs and they just couldn't contain him. So I think they need to get more pressure on the quarterback, but the biggest thing is you got to contain him. If he gets loose, you can't let him bust loose for those 20, 30, 40-yard gains like Pavia was doing against him, because he kind of tore him up.
Well, that 40-yarder up the middle he ran, I thought, my goodness, if you could have ran a 18-wheeler truck through that hole. Mm-hmm. And that's, you talking about, Rod, you talking about the defensive coordinator and stuff. You question what his thought process was, knowing that Pavia could do that.
Right. I mean, that should be your whole goal, is keep him corralled, and work on making sure there's no gaps. Of course, kids are going to make mistakes, but it'll mean at least attempt to corral him in the backfield.
Well, bowl projections for both teams. Tennessee and Vanderbilt will find out their bowl fate Sunday. Tennessee is mentioned everywhere from Music City to the Mayo Bowl. I've seen the Reliant and seen the Gator Bowl. Vanderbilt's been mentioned for the Gator Bowl as well. That'll be interesting to see again. I hate it, Danny, that Vanderbilt can't be in the playoffs.
Well, I would like to see them. I'm with you. I would like to see them play, and I think that they can play somebody good in a bowl game. And let's see what they have in an intersectional matchup. When you think about some of the other teams that may not get there that are pretty good, I would like to see them. Let's see them match up against a top-tier program from somewhere else in the country and see what they've got, because you want that measuring stick game for this program. I think that they could be undefeated. They could have beat Alabama and they could have beat Texas. So they're just a few plays away from being unbeaten. And if they were unbeaten, then we know where they'd be at. They'd be right there in the mix.
They would be in the mix, and that's the thing that people have talked a little bit about. It's that name on that jersey that people can't get over, and the history that they had.
That's right, because you think about a team that you lost to two teams that's right in the middle of it. That's the only teams that beat you. I'm sure there's some teams up there that got beat by somebody out of that area.
Well, you look at an Indiana.
So they don't get recognized as quickly as
Indiana had a big breakout last year, undefeated this year. You can't keep them out, but they've not played anybody.
No,
they've not really played anybody. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see a Vanderbilt Indiana game. That would have been fantastic, in my opinion. Danny, by chance, have you had any contact with Coach Mason at MTSU?
I have not. It's been one of those things where we just haven't been able to connect. I know that the good news for them was they ended the season with 2 wins, with back-to-back wins, which was good for them. One at home, their last home game, their only home win of the season, and then went on the road and won. So at least they closed the campaign with a couple of good wins, and they just need to get some more players in there. And I've talked to some of the other folks in the program or that are associated with the MTSU program, and they want to make a strong push toward getting some players, because that's what it's all about, is you got to have players. You mentioned the NIL, and it has changed everything, but then that's what everybody's on that quest for, is to get some players, however you do it, but that's what you do.
Right. MTSU signed 14 players this week in their class. Coach Mason talked about being very happy. Local product Justin Haggard out of Oakland is going to sign with the Blue Raiders, and that gets MTSU up right about 6 or 7 local products.
That's good for drawing crowds and keep the interest, and it's a good way to keep good relations with all the schools and give you an inside track then. Another thing, they found a quarterback for next year, it looks like. The freshman that they brought in, was it Gabriel or...
Roman Gagliano.
Okay, Roman. Okay, that's...
Can we not get names I can pronounce?
But he had, 400 yards in one of the games total, passing and running. So a quarterback like that can make a big difference, and it may help you in the portal, getting some receivers in, for example.
Right. Well, you mentioned portal. It doesn't open officially until January 2nd. 4 Blue Raiders have already announced their intentions of entering the portal. The biggest one It's Najee Cox, the wide receiver, Shakai Woods, Anthony Bynum, and tight end Hunter Timpton. Of course, that the roster could completely flip. We talked about that last year, Danny. MTSU had 50-plus new players.
Right, exactly. And that's what's going to be at schools like MTSU is a revolving door. Unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast now because not only do you have the NIL stuff, but you've got all the transfers, and it just like I said, it's a revolving door, and that's what it's going to be at MTSU, I think, for some time to come.
Yep. We've mentioned local players: Oakland's Corey Smith and Ashton Jones, Riverdale's DJ Taylor, who had a nice TD run for about 64 yards the other day. I think he's going to be a player up and coming in MTSU. Rockville's Bo Bryan, Blackman's Archie Roseman, and Oakland's D.R.A. McDonald all on MTSU's roster. Again, good to see local kids out there because there's got a lot of good local products. Real quick, Danny, before I let you go because we've got to take a break. Speaking of local products, our kid from Smyrna playing so well from Tennessee, is he going to come back or is he going to go to the draft? What do you think?
I don't know. I think it would behoove him to come back. That's what I think. But I haven't spoken with him lately, but I think he needs another year. That's what I think.
Yeah. I mean, projections are as high as second round, which I didn't expect to see, which are great.
All right, cannonball, boys. I'll see y'all. Thanks.
All right, see you, Danny. All right, we'll be right back.
Life's too short to stress about insurance. That's why Ray Call at Rayburn Insurance is here to make sure you have the right coverage without all the hassle. He'll work hard to provide you with personalized service and finding the best solutions for you and your family. Whether you're looking for auto, home, or business insurance, Rick Hall's got you covered. Rick Hall at Rayburn Insurance Agency. Let him handle the details so you can focus on what really matters.
This is a paid legal ad.
You've probably heard it a million times. If you're injured, call a lawyer. And you probably haven't because you don't know how much it will cost, how long it will take, or even if you have a case. At the law offices of John Day, we provide a free initial consultation because we understand that folks don't want to pay a lawyer only to find out they don't have a case. If you think we can help, we do so on a contingency basis, which means we only get paid if you do. Seriously injured? Call me, John Day.
Pizza. You in a hurry for dinner? Well, we've made it even easier to order online at sirpizzatn.com. Tap the location nearest you and begin your carryout or delivery order at sirpizzatn.com. You can choose from our full menu and we'll take care of the rest. A Queen's Feast is calling my name. Order Murfreesboro's favorite pizza online at sirpizzatn.com.
Sir Pizza, you made me love pizza again.
If you need concrete work done, who would I call? Dan France Concrete. Here's why. He's local. He attended Walter Hill Elementary, Oakland, and MTSU. He served our community as a school resource officer for 9 years, and he's involved in the community.
This is Dan with Dan France Concrete, wishing all Rutherford County student athletes a great season. Study hard, play harder, and be safe.
Dan France Concrete is a licensed and insured residential and commercial concrete construction contractor serving Middle Tennessee. Check out danfranceconcrete.com online to see some of their work.
Rely on the experienced professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air.
If your old unit needs a tune-up, the professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air service all major brands and even offer same-day service in most cases. Keep your home or business comfortable year-round. Call us today at 615-890-1311. Prentice Allsup Heating and Air, your Rheem Pro partner heating and cooling contractor on West College Street, just under the Thompson Lane overpass. Online at PrenticeAllsup.com.
Primetime Sports, presented by Ideas Tees on 101.9, 100.5, 1450, wgnssports.com, and Big G TV.
All right, we were talking a little bit of Blue Raiders. I want to jump over to Chip Walters for the Blue Raider report.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Middle Tennessee's women overcame what was once a 20-point deficit against Belmont, tying the game in the final minute but unable to take the lead for good in a 71-65 loss at home. Belmont got out to an early 19-9 lead after one quarter. Freshman forward Blair Bogus started the night 3 of 4 from the field to get her out of the gates with 6 points. The Bruins shot 47% from the floor in the first half and tallied 19 points off turnovers to take a 41-26 lead into the locker room. Middle Tennessee grabbed a quick 5 points in the final 30 seconds. via sophomore Savannah Davis 3 and a Carson Swaney bucket. The Blue Raiders shot 42% from the field and were led offensively by Bogus, who ended the half with 10 points and 2 rebounds. Kirsten Verholtz had 6 points and 3 rebounds, and Yuhan Lin dished out 3 assists and grabbed a pair of rebounds. The Blue Raiders then outscored Belmont 18-17 in the third quarter, led in the period by Yuhan Lin, who had 8 points and a pair of threes and a steal. Macy Pfeiffer also hit a 3, which was her second of the game, helping Middle shoot 7 of 15 from range through 3 quarters. Middle Tennessee stormed back in the fourth quarter, outscoring Belmont 21-13. The Blue Raiders were able to tie the game twice in the final 2 minutes, thanks in large part to Macy Pfeiffer's terrific free throw shooting. Pfeiffer finished with a career-high 14 points to go along with 4 rebounds. Blair Bogus finished as the team's leading scorer with 21 points, and Yuhan Lin had 10 points coming off the bench. Up next for Middle Tennessee, they'll host the front end of a doubleheader with the Blue Raider men this coming Sunday at Murphy Center. They will take on Memphis. Their game begins at 1 p.m. Central Time, and the Blue Raiders will be working on getting ready for Memphis and trying to break a 2-game losing skid. Middle Tennessee's men bouncing back after a big victory over UAB on Monday night by 15 points. They'll take on a Belmont squad who lost to Richmond last night. But the Middle Tennessee Belmont series has been one that has certainly been interesting to watch over the years. In the net rankings, Belmont in the mid-60s right now. Middle jumped up an extra spot yesterday, even without playing. They're up to 107 in the current net rankings. In football, Middle Tennessee and Conference USA announced its all-conference football freshman award winners as voted on by the league's head football coaches. The Blue Raiders had a first-team selection, 1 on the second team, 1 honorable mention pick, and 5 on the all-freshman team. Defensive tackle DeMonte Smith was the lone Blue Raider on the first team as he was honored by the league for the first time in his career. Parker Hughes, a team captain who started his career as a walk-on, earned second-team all-conference honors for his linebacking position after posting a career-high 100 tackles to lead Middle this year. Hughes is the first Blue Raider to top 100 tackles since Trey Fluellen in 2022 and the first linebacker since T.T. Barber in 2013. The Elizabethton native also had 3 tackles for loss. Running back Jaquel Middlebrook was on the honorable mention list following a career season. Middlebrook led the Blue Raiders in rushing with 752 yards and 4 touchdowns while adding 40 receptions for 473 yards and 5 scores. Offensive linemen Otto Janse van Rensburg and Alex Gale both made the all-freshman team, along with defensive tackle Zion Simpson-Smith, cornerback Jackson Lowe, and kicker Balin Woodman. All of that information, you can check it out on GoBlueRaiders.com. That's it for today. We'll have another update for you coming up tomorrow here on WGNS.
All right. Thank you, Chip. Appreciate that. Rod, the Lady Raiders still struggling with that youth movement.
Yes.
But the men continue to play well, so that's good. That's good.
The beginning of December, November is playing other teams, trying to get ready for the conference, and hopefully things will start clicking by then.
All right. Let's start clicking, talking about the Oakland Patriots. Undefeated, 6th time in a row they have been to this championship game. We've talked for many years about Coach Creasy and the job he does. Rod, you were at the Blackman game. The difference again was Craig Tutt.
Yes, and I just saw an article here. They said he carried the ball 21 times in the game, the most he's carried this year, and he had over 224 yards total, 4 touchdowns. 1 touchdown was a pass, his first reception. And the thing was, they don't throw it to him that much, that he was all by himself, leaving Tut open. But, it's something that they weren't prepared for. So, I mean, and you can tell how they respect opponent by how many carries he has. So Blackman, this game, they were worried, 21 carries. Second highest was 19 with CPA, first game of the season. The returning champions of the Division II, 2AA, and who's known for being a very solid team. And then the third one was Blackman again. So you know how much they respected him when they go in. All you got to do is look at, find out how many carries he has, and that's going to determine how tough the opponent they respected for.
Well, and then push comes to shove, and Oakland needs a play. Craig Tutt, your man, and Rod and I were talking earlier about the TOA highlight. It's Mr. Craig Tutt. TOA is the largest and most comprehensive orthopedic surgery group in Middle Tennessee. You can find out more at TOA.com. He's our athlete highlight for TOA. Mr. Football finalist. Again, someone that Coach Creasy has relied on a lot these last couple of years. He's got all the playmakers to choose from. And Craig, of course, y'all said he went in the Wildcat the other night when they needed him.
Right. I think we really just finalized everything. Blackman got it within 28-14, 2 touchdown lead. In the one quarterback, he got hurt, and then they ran a couple plays with Morton, and then they brought Tutt in, and they ran a Wildcat, and they just took it down. Actually, what it looked like was like Navy or Army taking the ball down the field, how they'll do 2, 3, 4 yards, and take even go on fourth. They didn't go on fourth down, but military a lot of times will go on fourth down. They just grind you and grind you. Get late in the game, they're just tough to stop, and they eat up 10 minutes. Got a touchdown, and in fact, the touchdown was the only big open play. All of a sudden, got about the 10-yard line when on that play, things opened in the middle, and he just shot through the middle, and touchdown, and that actually put them back up 21 points. That pretty much that was it for the game.
Well, what's funny is we were talking about the article they wrote on Oakland and Ravenwood, both using 2 quarterback systems.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, Oakland, relies on their 2 guys, Morton and Cameron. Cameron's more the runner, the speed of the 2. For Ravenwood, they've got 2 kids both going to college.
Yes. I saw when they played some of the highlights of the game with Southwind. Southwind was undefeated coming in. Southwind has a running back who had 65 touchdowns already, and he scored 4 more. And then they booked it. The whole thing was to stop him. So you had a good night if you stopped him at 4, if you could score more points. And basically, Southwind's not able to get the point PATs, killed them in the game.
Yeah, that final was 28-25.
Yes, and then Ravenwood won on their last touchdown came on a 64-yard a fumble recovery, scooped it, and ran 64 yards back. And so, quite a game. But their offense is a little bit different than Oakland's in that Maverick Chance, one of the quarterbacks, he also runs receiver and running back. And so they're both in there at the same time, not like we one in, one out. That's what Oakland does.
Right.
And Chance, one's committed to Navy, looks like a military-type quarterback. He's a great runner, especially inside. He's just able to shift and change directions. He got good hands, caught the ball on a touchdown pass, but each of them caught touchdown passes from the other. And so it's going to be interesting. This is going to be a good game. And if you remember, 2 years ago, early in the season, Ravenwood came to Oakland, and they beat Oakland in 32-31, and they went for 2 in the overtime to win the game. So this is going to be a dandy.
The other quarterback, Balboa, if I'm saying that right, in Boston College commitment. And so they've been running this dual threat for the last couple years up there. New coach at Ravenwood, Will Hester, a local name a lot of people know, no longer coaching. Ricky Rodriguez, the offensive coordinator, is taking over that team. For Ravenwood, of course, they started their playoff run by beating Cane Ridge, then Houston, Whitehaven, of course, again, Southwind. For the Oakland Patriots, they beat Cookeville, Bradley Central, Green Hill. Let's talk about Green Hill. That Green Hill game was a close one for Oakland, 21-17.
Yeah.
Ravenwood played Green Hill, 3rd game of the season, beat them 43-14.
Yeah. So that tells you better get your attendance alert.
I'm sure Coach Creasy and them have watched that game specifically
Right.
a lot. But what was surprising when I looked at Ravenwood's season, they only played a couple of teams with winning records. They played, of course, Green Hill, Brentwood, Whitehaven, and Southwind. So only 4 of their 14 games, they played teams with winning records. So
yeah, and Brentwood's not the Brentwoods of old. They were a lot weaker this year.
Right.
In fact, the Williamson County was weaker, about the weakest season that they've had. But Ravenwood is very solid, and probably the championship game and Green Hill were the 2 best competitions that they even had.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, Oakland's played a lot tougher teams through the season.
Right. Ravenwood's averaging 35 points per game versus Oakland's 38 a game. Oakland's defense is giving up about 7.5, Ravenwood about 13. I'm kind of feeling the weather's going to be chilly, not wet.
Right.
I think
be the best night of the week, though.
Yeah, I know y'all are happy about that.
Yes.
I can see a lot of points on the board.
Yes.
That's gonna be a great game. 6 o'clock in Chattanooga.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be on TV if you can't make it there. I'm not gonna go against the Patriots by any means. We've got a couple more minutes in this segment. I want to talk about again the Oakland Patriots, and I've mentioned this before on the radio. You know, their program, Rod, they've been the last 6 years, which means every 2 years they're playing an extra season, basically.
Yes. And guess what that does for your maturity, for experiences the players have had, but you also get a lot of players get a lot of good experience going in the next year. So you've almost, even though they're their junior year, it may be more like their senior year.
And I don't
experience-wise.
And I don't know it for a fact. I don't remember if Craig was there as a freshman. Do you remember if Craig Tutt was there as a freshman?
I think so.
So that means Craig has played 60 games in his 4-year career at Oakland High School. So I mean that's 6 seasons.
Mm-hmm. I think in middle school he was at Siegel. I'm not sure. I mean, it was one of those schools like that.
Yeah. So you know, that's always been my argument. That's such a plus for practice reps, game reps. You know, I'm sure with, you know, Coach Crease and his practice setups, he's always keeping in mind, I got to keep my guys fresh, but he's also, those second string, third string kids are getting a lot of reps that most kids don't get.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true or not, but I think that on his schedule, he gives the parents at the beginning of the year, they have practice scheduled for Thanksgiving Day on the schedule.
Well, that was an article in D&J, a really good article. They start that morning. The parents bring breakfast in.
Right.
You know, he's built, you know, just an amazing program.
Right.
Amazing program.
But it's expected. It's scheduled.
It's scheduled.
So they assume.
They know. Yeah. They know. All right, something else I know. I got to take a break. We'll be right back.
Craig's Tax Service at 142 Heritage Park Drive offers complete tax preparation, financial, and bookkeeping services.
This is Brandon Craig with Craig's Tax Service. We're proud to support all Rutherford County athletes.
Craig's Tax Service reminds you that it makes sense to get help with your taxes. Call 890-2233 for an appointment.
We've been serving Rutherford County since 1988.
Craig's Tax Service, 890-2233.
We're just off Memorial Boulevard at 142 Heritage Park Drive.
Game day is coming, and are you ready to represent the Blue Raiders? At Raider Tees, we've got the largest selection of officially licensed Middle Tennessee gear in town. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, even tailgating essentials. You name it, we've got it. No more searching through random stores. Everything you need is right here at 111 East MTCS Road, right across from MTCS. Get game day ready at Raider Tees. Bigger, better, and go blue.
Every holiday season, Middle Tennessee comes alive. From small-town parades to tree lightings in our local squares, our communities shine with laughter, music, and the spirit of the season. MTE is proud to help light those moments, supporting the traditions that bring neighbors together. Because around here, it means more than electricity. It's the energy our communities share. Middle Tennessee Electric, bringing good energy.
Market declines, unemployment, oil prices. Don't let headlines derail your long-term financial strategy. I'm Edward Jones Financial Advisor Lee Colvin. I'll work with you to help you understand the impact of short-term events and how to be positioned for the long term. We provide the tools for a disciplined approach to investing. Call 615-907-7056 for an opportunity to discuss your situation. Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing, member SIPC.
Quick, convenient, efficient. 3 words that we all hope to experience when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to bring just that to an industry that's traditionally dictated to the customer when it's time to do business. Whether you're purchasing class pictures in a yearbook, class jewelry, a letter jacket, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience quick, convenient, and efficient. Find out more at jhacompany.com. JHA, your one source for an unparalleled scholastic experience.
Primetime Sports, presented by Ideas Tees on 1019, 100.5, 1450, wgnssports.com, and Big G TV.
All right, in the holiday spirit, we're going to put a bow on this show for this week. We've got a couple more shows left in December before our time is up. Got to talk about pigskin picks. I hated to let Rod and Danny and John and myself know that you get to pick this week, but it don't matter.
No.
We're out of the running. Pigskin picks run until the last game of high school, which is Saturday. Brian has a one-game lead over Bill Hockenberry with these last 2 games. You got the Oakland Ravenwood game we had to pick, and then the Titans against the Browns we had to pick. I'm not telling you who picked who, but it is up for grabs.
It is.
You know,
Yep.
you and I tried to do the same thing last week is what would Brian pick, and can we go total opposite and see how it works out? Brian went 2-2 last week. You went 1-3. I went 2-2. It just about made me sick to pick Vanderbilt, but I won that one. But yeah, Rod, you had a great season though. You've had a great, you're sitting in third at 113, but just only 2 games left. It's not enough to.
Nope.
Not enough.
Last year I went for it all, and the only way I thought I could do it is I had to go opposite of Brian.
Yeah. Well, Brian was here tonight when we first got here. Had his office door open. Had his pigskin pick trophies and his big rings all sitting right there. So good for you, Brian. Good for you.
Yeah,
So
you two suckers that tried to make a maneuver.
Yep. All right, WGNS this weekend real quick. Tomorrow, Saturday night, big football game. You can listen to it live. Brian, John, and Rod will be there starting at 5:30. This weekend, you can catch MTSU basketball. Monday, high school basketball, Siegel versus